In late 2000, the Palo Alto Unified School District decided to evict the JCC from the school site it had leased since 1983 to reclaim Terman Middle School for its growing student population. Without a home, without assets, the JCC membership plummeted. Against incredible odds, a group of leaders emerged to resurrect the JCC from its decimated pieces into a campus for Jewish life, unparalleled in its scope by any other Jewish center nationwide.
This has been and is the most extraordinary building experience of my professional career.
We can't even begin to imagine the relationships and the extraordinary things that are going to happen because of what we have created together.
Having an important Jewish center is one piece of the puzzle of how to ensure ultimate Jewish survival, and more than survival, pride in our culture, pride in our achievements, pride in our history.
There were moments that we can all remember where we kind of looked around the table at each other and said, you know, how are we going to do this? What if it doesn't work? What is the backup plan? And my guiding principle, and I was very clear about this, I said that failure was not an option.
What touches us is the integrated whole, the ability of young people and old people to live and work and play and study together.
It's called a community center, and in the fullest sense of the word, there's a huge, long 8-year story of enormously different people with different skill sets and different histories, all coming together to do their particular part of the project.
Concerned city and school district officials helped JCC board members search for a new location, but several possibilities trailed into dead ends. The new JCC board president, Carol Saul, had her own feelers out, and in mid-2001, an unbelievably large tract of land came up for sale in Palo Alto.
We got a call from our broker. There was 12 acres. Sun Microsystems headquarters were coming on the market.
No one on the team, and we had a very experienced team of Palo Alto real estate professionals, had ever dealt with a 12-acre sale in Palo Alto. There just simply hadn't been one in 30 or 40 years.
How are we going to get the property? We were kind of, you know, a JCC that was going nowhere, and we were, you know, we had no assets. I immediately thought of putting together some other groups that were interested in doing something, you know, in the Jewish community.
It was at that point where the Palo Alto JCC and the Federation were buying the Sun Microsystems site. And they came to the Jewish home to say, would you like to buy in?
Well, we'd been looking for many, many years because we felt that the home needed to be down the peninsula. There were so many Jewish people living there who would benefit from the home.
What we found in all levels of our market research was a tremendous pent-up demand for high-quality senior living services in the South Bay area.
A three-way partnership was formed between the JCC, the Jewish Federation, and the San Francisco-based Jewish Home. They all saw the potential for the Jewish community if they could submit the winning bid. Sun was impressed by the team, assuming incorrectly that the Federation was putting up the money.
I think we bid $36 million, and it took quite a lot of chutzpah for an organization that effectively had nothing to sign a legally binding offer for $36 million.
Nothing was in our pocket. That was the amazing thing. But we won the bid. And then we decided we better get busy raising the money.
There simply was no precedent in this community for raising that order of money. And it was the dot-com bust, but Carol is amazing, and she has the tenacity of a pit bull.
At one point, Sun realized that they had given the bid to us and we had no money to pay. And we didn't try to hide anything from them. It's just that they never asked and we never said.
While Stuart Klein worked to reassure Sun and simultaneously buy more time, Carol's fundraising team began its improbable mission, $36 million in 90 days.
Our first gift was the Oshman gift, actually. And they stuck with us from the very beginning before we really had anybody else.
Barbara and I said, we want to be part of this, we want to make sure it happens, so I think we were pretty early supporters.
The Oshman gift was amazing in and of itself, in that what preceded it was Albert and Janet Schultz saying that they would be willing to take their name off of the agency. It would no longer be the Albert and Janet Schultz Jewish Community Center. And the graciousness that they presented was really a turning point in what the JCC could do.
The team we put together was extraordinary, and they were all volunteers.
One of those was Jim Baer. Jim arranged meetings with the city manager and the planning department. I think it's fair to say that the city managers felt they had kind of died and gone to heaven when they heard this, because more or less Jim was saying, how would you all feel about us putting up $100 million and building a community center open to everybody in an underserved part of your town?
Even with city approval and some very generous donations, the deal nearly fell through. The deadline was coming and the funds were still short.
We had pushed the deadlines, pushed the deadlines, pushed the deadlines, and finally we were up against a very serious kind of put up or shut up kind of deadline from Sun. Carol had raised $24 million, which was unprecedented and amazing, but $24 million just wasn't enough. We needed 36. Really, at that point, the only option left was to sell some of the land to somebody else. But who in their right mind, on kind of 2 weeks' notice, would want to buy 4 acres of land for $12 million? And by the way, you won't know what the city will allow you to do with it.
The deal was dangling by a very slender thread. And at that point I was a member of the JCC Board Executive Committee, and I thought, well, we can't let this happen. We should do something. And I thought, well, what can I do? I made the phone call and I said, I'm interested in speaking with someone who might be interested in developing a portion of that site for affordable housing and who would be prepared to make a sizable investment in a very short period of time. Are you interested? And the person on the other end, who had never met me or heard of me before, said, yes, can I come to your house tonight?
So I called up Lydia and I said, listen, I understand you're talking to Carol and Shelley. You're looking at the property. Is there anything that I could do to get you or your board comfortable? And she said, well, I've got to present, you know, the numbers and the facts to our board in 3 or 4 days. And I said, well, let me take your program and we'll do some drawings for you very quickly. And we'll see if everything you want to do will fit on the property. And so we worked frantically one weekend or a couple of days.
Who knows what would have happened if we missed that deadline?
The partnership with Bridge Housing went through and the purchase from Sun was completed in the nick of time. As enormous a challenge as they had overcome, the new owners now faced a fundraising challenge for construction that dwarfed the land purchase. A nonprofit agency was formed, the Toby Corrett Campus for Jewish Life, and Shelley A. Baer became the executive director. The JCC also got 2 new leaders at this point. Alan Sadeloff came to Palo Alto to fill the executive director position, and Jim Koshland became the new president of the board as Carol Saul became a full-time fundraiser.
It was important to connect with community members and potential supporters at the level of their Jewish heart. And by that I mean to have them really thinking about and imagining what it would mean to them for our Jewish community to have a home and that would be a place where the transmission of Jewish values, Jewish culture, Jewish learning, and Jewish relationships would occur.
All different streams of Judaism, or not affiliated at all. But they're looking for something. They're looking for some way to be connected.
Not only is this going to be a center for Jews, it's going to be a place where Jews and non-Jews and people of all ages interact, and that's where we think it will be a great example and we hope a great melting pot.
I've known Jim Koshland since he was born. His parents were good friends of mine, and I was amazed how he picked up on this. And when he came to talk with me, I was more than normally curious to know how he got involved. And he really set a wonderful tone. I simply decided that I should do my part.
While donors like Tad Toby and Richard Goldman made the dream start to become real, there was also a radical new idea taking shape that made the project more ambitious and more exciting than ever. Instead of building a JCC and a neighboring seniors housing complex, the collaborators began to design a site that merged the two into a single framework fully involving the seniors.
We needed to have more than just a JCC, and so we came up with the Steinberg group, the idea of a village.
Where seniors could come down in their building and go right into the fitness center. A very different kind of relationship.
So you have senior living areas flying over Oshman family JCC areas.
The whole thing of integrating seniors and members of the center and children and all being together, I think it's a unique concept.
To be sitting here in this park-like setting, surrounded by the Muldaugh residences, a dream of my husband, Stuart Muldaugh. To see these residences is just a wonderful, heartfelt feeling. He would love it.
An unexpected roadblock emerged that drove the project costs way up. The leaders were concerned that they might overwhelm potential donors.
At some point, we're really not changing things dramatically, but the pricing kept going up and up and up. And we knew what was going on. It was the economic environment we were in, the construction material environment. This goes back to, what, 2006, 2007, when there was so much construction going on in China, and so concrete and reinforcing steel and structural steel were escalating at an unprecedented rate.
Even after we made our lead gift, the questions about financial viability didn't go away.
At the time when it was first envisioned, it was $100 million worth of construction costs.
At one point in time, I had reached a $155 million fundraising project. And at that point in time, I started to get a little nervous.
It didn't matter if I was talking to a land use attorney or an entitlements consultant or an engineer or an architect or a contractor or a developer. They all just said the same thing over and over, which is, Shelley, this is the most difficult thing that I've ever seen in 30 years.
But you know, once you start something, you just keep going with it. You can't give up.
There was a point when we raised 110 or 120 million where everyone felt we really made it. So there was a dollar point where, and I can't pinpoint exactly, but that was the point where I think we all said, wow, this project really is going to move forward. We're really going to build it.
In August 2009, the Oshman family JCC and the Muldaugh family residences were completed. The Toby Corrett Campus for Jewish Life, now ready to become a reality.
I never dreamed something this big would actually be built.
I did have to go off and have a few moments by myself.
This is so much more. It's just amazing. It's just wonderful.
The number of people have said to me, wow, the campus is finished. Now you're going to relax, take a vacation. And I look at them and say, no, now is when we really make a difference. We have a full complement of cultural arts programming, and we'll be bringing in artists and performers during the year. We have a preschool that has space for 265 kids. We have an adult program that's not just about older adults, it's also about young adults. It's about single adults. It's about adults who are baby boomers. It's about having a fitness center and a wellness program. It's also about creating a place for the Israeli community. What we know is that there are at least 20,000 Israelis living here. It's about providing programming also for the Russian population.
I look at the site as a 100-year asset for the community, and I wonder what's going to happen there? Who's going to fall in love there? Who's going to have their first job there? Who's going to learn to read there? It's amazing to think that the facility could have that kind of impact on so many different people.
Around the middle of this project, unfortunately, our daughter passed away at the age of 34. And it was fairly sudden and nothing we ever imagined. And one of the things that kept me going was this project. And one of the visions that I created for myself and through this tragedy was to name the town square after her. It's where the donor wall will be located. It's where the people will pass through to bring their children to the preschool. It's where people will pass through to go to the fitness center. They'll be sitting at the cafe, outdoor tables, indoor tables, and there'll be spontaneous entertainment and also programmatic entertainment that will take place there. And this is exactly what she loved. She really loved to be in the middle of a party.
It's been such a long journey. It's been maybe 8 years now. And so many people have given so much to this project in so many different ways. And it literally could have failed almost at every step, but no one let it fail. And the way the woman from Sun actually summarized it when we showed up at the closing was she said, God smiled on this project. And I believe it.